the year they graduated, what colleges they attended, and if they are associated with a sport fraternity or another organization at the university.
Awesome, thank you. What's up, guys? My name is Andrew Rich. For those of you who don't know me, I am the son of Miss Dorothy Rich, of course. I graduated from Heritage in 2021, and then I attended Johns Hopkins University up in Baltimore, Maryland. I played on the football team up there, and I actually just graduated this past December.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Kieran Skelly. I'm a junior at Emory. I'm Miss Skelly's son also. So I play for the soccer team, and I'm a member of the SAE fraternity at Emory.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Johnson and I attend Georgia State University. I'm a sophomore there and I graduated from Heritage in 2023. And I'm associated with Black Student Alliance on my campus and NCNW, which is like an organization for Black women.
I'm Sam Knight. I graduated last year. I go to Stanford University and I'm in the ATO fraternity.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go down some questions. We're just going to have one answer the question, and then if anybody wants to contribute on the panel to that question, they're going to do so, okay? So our first question is about academics and preparation for college. So what high school classes or skills prepared you most for college?
Yeah, I think, the easy answer to this question obviously is AP classes, right? You hear a lot about how AP classes prepare you well for college classes, which is certainly true, and if you're able to take those classes, certainly take advantage of those. But I would say that building the relationships with some of the teachers as opposed to worrying about what classes you take is more important. Because I know I certainly learned a lot of lessons from my teachers here outside of the academic setting, kind of just learning how to grow and develop in your learning and extracurriculars and things like that as well. So it's also just kind of like exposing yourself to the broad range of opportunities Heritage has to offer, whether that's academics, extracurricular, sports, in the school play, whatever it may be. Just being able to use that kind of framework that Heritage provides and really expand your horizons and figure out what you like, what you don't like, what you're good at, what you're not good at is really valuable, and that's what makes this place so great, is being able to kind of establish what you like and what your passions are, really.
Awesome. Anybody want to contribute to that? Feel good? Okay. Were there any subjects you wish you had focused on more in high school? Lauren could answer.
I think for me, since I'm a nursing major, I guess science, I took AP Bio, but I think I could have maybe taken anatomy or, but I think also you might not know exactly what you want to do, so they're going to teach you it in college. It's not like super important, but I think a little bit I could have focused more on science.
Maybe got more exposure to it. Okay. All right, yeah, back to Kieran. How did you develop effective study habits while you were here at Heritage?
I did not. I was
How did that impact you?
terrible. I had no background in any study habits. I had no idea of how I wanted to study, and then my worst semester in college was my first one because I had no idea how to study, what works for me. So I think that's something that you want to develop as you're ending up high school. What works for you? Are you a flashcards person? Or do you need to read the textbook 3 times?
How did you find out how you were able to study the best once you got to college? What were some things?
It was a lot of trial and error. If I did well on a test or I bombed a test, I found out that I'm good at just going through the slides and taking notes, but there's a ton of different options they have for you in college. You can work with tutors, you can work with a bunch of different resources that most universities have to help you succeed in classes.
That kind of goes along with the next question, which is what is the biggest academic adjustment you faced when you started college? Sam, do you want to kind of add to that?
One thing for sure is there will just be assignments your teachers don't tell you about. You just have to go online, figure them out, and do them yourself. And how much information you go over before a test. You have no idea what could be on the test, so you just have to kind of pick and choose what you think the most important things are, just because there's so much to go through.
All right, back to Andrew.
Yeah, I think also it's kind of just the pace is way different. In high school you learn a lesson, you do a lot of practice questions, and then you review and do the same thing the next day sometimes. In college, you are in a big lecture hall with 100 people, and you're rolling through the lecture slides, and the next day you pick up right where you left off and you keep going. There's usually not many practice problems presented in the lecture, but you have other times, recitation sessions, TA sessions where you're able to practice. So being able to kind of adjust to the new pace and realize what the school offers for those extra practice sessions, and coupling that with realizing that you're going to have to practice and teach yourself a little bit on your own is extremely valuable and important, because that was my biggest issue going in. Is I was used to high school where we would do 20 math problems at the end of class, and then I get to my first math class and it's a test before I even had any practice problems presented. It's like, oh, I probably should have been practicing on my own a little bit more than I was. So that's a big adjustment for sure, and something that is important to know going in.
What is a TA session?
Yeah, good question. So TA session, every big lecture or class you have in college will usually have a TA, teacher assistant, and then you'll have usually one TA session a week where you are able to go meet with your TA in a smaller group setting. So say there's 100 people in your lecture, there might be 5 TA sessions, 20 people each, where you're able to kind of work with other people in your lecture, do practice problems, ask the TA questions that you may not have been able to ask during class.
So it's kind of like our Excel.
Yes, very much
So you have those open hours with that TA who's basically teaching. A lot of times the professor will just do the lecture and the TA is actually there to help guide the lesson, right? Or sometimes the TA teaches it, right?
Yeah, I had multiple classes in college where whether it was the professor didn't really get through to me, or maybe wasn't a good professor, the TA actually was the one who kind of ended up teaching me the lesson as opposed to the professor. So they're extremely valuable.
Okay, next question is, are there specific skills like time management, writing, research that you feel is crucial to success in college?
Time management is a very key aspect, because you will have a lot of free time, but you'll also have class time. So you have to learn how to properly allocate your time, make sure that you're on track to get everything done, because I think Sam said it, there are assignments that your professor is not going to mention. You're going to have to go find them on your own, make sure you complete them on time, and then make sure that you're balancing your schedule with everything to make sure you get everything done.
And there's usually a platform, kind of like Blackboard, where you can see your assignments that are assigned to you and do, so you can keep track of that stuff, right? Okay. All right, Lauren, college selection and application process. So I wasn't a part of either of your college selection process, but I was with Lauren and Sam, which is great. So you can kind of adhere to some of the process. You know what the process is now too, to kind of add to this. So how did you choose your college, and what factors mattered most to you?
Okay, so for me, I chose Georgia State mostly because of financial situations, because now, for me, I basically get paid to go to school because of the scholarships that I have. So for me, it was mostly financial for Georgia State, but also it was the environment that I wanted. I just wanted something different from Heritage. I knew I wanted a bigger school, and I knew that I wanted more diversity, so that's how I chose my school. But I guess Sam could talk about it.
So for me, how I chose, I just visited and it felt like somewhere I would be. So I definitely say just use your visit days.
Yeah, actually, this might be a good one for all of you to answer, because I feel like it's going to be so different.
Well, I knew I wanted to play a sport in college, so I really tried to recruit for soccer a lot and talked to a lot of schools that I knew would be high academics. So I chose Emory because, they have very good academics, which I was really happy with, and then I get to play soccer, so.
So from a recruiting standpoint, who would you say was the vital part of the recruitment part about getting in touch with other coaches? Was it your social media? Was it Huddle? What are the things that you feel like were the biggest part of your recruitment process to get that started?
I had a lot of help from different coaches through my club and school, and then also I was fortunate enough to have connection through my club soccer team. My coach also coached there, so I was able to meet him, connect with him, talk for him a while. You have to send a lot of emails back and forth, networking with different coaches, and that's really how you get it done.
Andrew, was yours the same?
Yeah, pretty similar. Coach Copeland here and some of the other football coaches at the time certainly helped me a lot, and Huddle is a huge part of the football recruiting, so having that platform offered here was a great asset. And also in terms of the college question, I think for me it was very similar to Kieran wanting to play a sport, but also I wanted to be in a city somewhere a little bit different than what I was used to down here. So that's why I wanted to look. I was looking mainly northeast in cities where I could be exposed to different people, different environments, and things like that.
Awesome. So what do you wish you had known about the college application process that maybe you didn't know?
Miss Kaylin did a pretty good job. I feel like I knew everything I needed to know to apply.
I guess just patience. Like, it's gonna be difficult, but I think just having the patience to get through it.
Yeah.
Writing essays is not fun, but you just gotta suck it up and do them. Get them done with early. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all those things. Patience is definitely very important. There's going to be some, hard messages you receive if you have a number one school and you don't get in, but the main thing to remember is you're going to end up at the right place. You just need to trust that and realize that all these colleges out there offer so many great programs, and you meet so many great people no matter where you go. So understanding that no matter where you go, you're going to be in the right place, and it's not the end of the world if you don't get your number one.
So I'm going to skip a question then and say, what stood out to you about the college that you chose that you were like, yes, this is it. This is where I'm going to go?
Yeah, so with Hopkins, for me, it was the balance of the academics and athletics. And I was able to meet some people. I went on a visit, October of my senior year, and met some of the football guys up there, and was able to just kind of see, myself and them, and realize that they're very similar people, and they've similar backgrounds, but also different backgrounds, people from all over the country. So it was kind of just realizing that I could see there was a group there that I could fit in with very well, and at the same time be able to learn a lot from them and their experiences, and especially since they were from all over the world too. So kind of just having that, and then also just you kind of get a feeling when you get on a college and you see the layout, see the city, whatever it is, and you just kind of, I don't know, something kind of clicks usually for a lot of people.
Yeah, similar to Andrew. I mean, I wanted to try a different atmosphere. I mean, living in Atlanta, it's a lot different than living here in Newton, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, and I also chose like a smaller school, similar to the Heritage atmosphere. Like it is, I think 8,500 undergrad, but compared to other universities, that's smaller. And then, so, I mean, that's kind of the atmosphere I wanted. I mean, I can't walk through campus without running into 4 or 5 people that I know. It's really
Kieran, this is a funny story. I don't know if your mom told you, but I was at Emory and I was doing a tour, and I saw you walking down the street, and I took a slide photo of you and sent it to your mom. So that just proves your point. And I was like, hey, I saw Kieran out in the wild. Did she tell you that?
She did not.
That's
no,
probably because that sounds super
yeah,
weird and
yeah, you seem
stalkerish.
very
But
sneaky about it.
that, but that just proves the point that even, at college at 8,500 kids, I ran into the one person I know that goes to Emory, which is kind of funny.
I think what made Georgia State stick out for me is their honors college, because that's what I applied to, and they just have a lot of benefits through it, and that's what really made me know that I wanted to go there, because even though it's a huge school and it's really big, the honors college is small, so you have access to smaller classes, you have access to improved dorms, so it's just small things like that that they offer can really offset your decisions.
So it definitely, like what Andrew was saying, you get that feeling. It's first time I visited, I knew that's where I was gonna go. But it's also it's only 4,000 people undergrad, so I'll probably see 15 to 20 people I know walking to class. And so it's just that feeling of these people know me, I know them, this is something cool that we talk to each other every day.
All right, so what advice would you give for applying for scholarships or financial aid?
Get it done early. They pile up. If you want to try and apply for a bunch of them, I mean, might as well try and apply as many as possible. It's free money. Save you some.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
I think also don't stop your sophomore year, because your college is gonna have specific scholarships through your college. So keep on applying.
That's a great thing, Lauren. So that's for when you're in college. So when you're in college, you can continue applying for more scholarships. It doesn't end just that first year going in. You can continue to apply for scholarships as you go through your years in college. Okay, and let's see. How much of our college decision do you think should be based on the tuition cost?
I think that's something that's like kind of personal for you, but I guess just like talk to your parents and then see what you're going to be doing in college, if you're going to have a job, and if you are going to be able to offset the tuition costs or not.
Yeah, that's a great answer. That's a very personal question. I agree with you, Lauren. Anybody else want to add or no?
I mean, yeah, it's a very large influential factor. It's whatever works for you, works for your current state, and then I think, yeah, it's very personal.
And it's good to know that ahead of time, right? Before you make your decision, because you don't want to make your decision, make your deposit, and then go, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay for this? Right? Okay, so social and personal growth. How did you pick your roommate, and what was your experience living with them?
Yeah, so I got lucky. Our football coach and I was coming in, kind of made a group chat with all of us, and we were able to pick our own roommates within our football freshman class, which was very nice because we would be on the same schedule. And the guy I roomed with, I still room with now. We're very close, have been for 4 years. And actually, a very unfortunate thing about Hopkins, 2 years after I came in, they actually cut out you being able to choose your roommate, which I think is ridiculous. Their reasoning being that you can meet people from different backgrounds and kind of learn how they live life, how you live life, and kind of adjust with that, which, there's merit in that too, I guess. But in terms of picking a roommate, there's certainly people that you can end up with who are very different from you, and you kind of have to adjust with that. You got to respect their space and hope that they respect yours, and that's not always easy. I've had a lot of friends who've lived with people who, are night owls and are up all night playing video games, and some people who sleep 24/7. So it's, you get very wide range in people, but it's, like I said, it's all about just kind of like respecting their space. And, you do get to meet some new people, and I definitely recommend meeting people down your hall too, kind of knowing your whole area and your dorm or whatever it may be, because, like I said, it's nice to meet those, new people.
Okay, Kieran, how did you make friends and build a social network in college?
Ooh, well, yeah, I was fortunate enough to go into soccer. I come with 30 built-in friends, so I was able to do that. But then I also did kind of try and branch out once I wasn't in soccer season, be able to go out and meet people, go around campus, do different events, see people in Atlanta. I joined fraternity so I can meet a lot more guys, and that's been a lot of fun. I made a lot of lifelong friends I think I'll know for a long time.
Lauren, since you weren't in a sorority or sport, do you have anything to add to that?
I just say campus organizations. That's like my biggest way that I've made friends. Also, my freshman year roommates, they're still my friends, so I think it's pretty easy, but you do sometimes, if you're a shy person, you might have to like try to do it. It might not come as natural, so that's why I looked for organizations that have people like me, people that I feel like would be like-minded, so that I could make more friends.
And if you guys are on LinkedIn, I highly recommend you connect with Lauren, because she posts all of these amazing things that she's doing on campus, and it's really cool to see, so I highly recommend you do that. Okay, so what extracurricular, I guess this is Sam, what extracurricular activities or clubs were most rewarding in high school, and how did they kind of prepare you for the college process?
Definitely anything that can get you service hours. So Key Club, obviously I'll push that. I was in Near Youth Council. That was just definitely good to see different faces and connect with people around town. But anything that gets you connecting with people, just so you can build relationships in college without having to worry about how you're going to talk to them in a professional way, through Rush, talking to adults in Near Youth Council. I felt like I was able to have those conversations where I was seen more of an adult as somebody they were trying to bid on.
Makes sense. Okay. Andrew, how do you balance academics with your social life?
Yeah, so let's see. It's really important to be able to have that balance and to know, when it's time to have fun, when it's time to study, when it's time to relax. In terms of social life and academics directly, what's always been great for me is finding people within your major or within your friend group who are in your major, and like studying with them, doing work with them, because that, you get to do 2 in 1 in that setting. You can be in the library for 5 hours and spend maybe 3 hours at that time studying and 2 hours goofing around and whatever it may be. So being able to like kind of find where those can overlap is important. But it is, sometimes you do just kind of have to bite the bullet and lock yourself in your room and study for 6 hours because you have a big exam. So that's something you can kind of gradually learn. My freshman fall, I certainly was a little more social than I needed to be. But as you go, you learn how to deal with it. You learn how to, like I said, study with your friends and make time for both sides.
Anybody else have something to contribute there?
Yeah, I mean, you're on your own now, so you gotta properly decide how you're gonna divide your schedule and make sure that you're getting everything done. That's a big thing. It's trying not to sit on TikTok all day instead of trying to study or go out and meet friends. But yeah, finding people that have similar schedules to you is very helpful. That way you're not trying to figure it all out on your own. You develop your schedule together. It's a big thing.
Yeah. All right, Lauren. Were there ways that Heritage helped you build confidence and independence?
I think it's kind of like Sam said, having the confidence to like go up to teachers, like going up to professors hasn't really been a problem for me. So I think that's like a really big thing, is that at Heritage, you have a pretty close connection with the teachers here. And in college, well, especially at my university, you're not gonna have a relationship with them if you don't actively go out and get that relationship, because there's like 100+ people in your lectures. So definitely like just being able to make a relationship with a professor, because that can go a long way in college if they know your name and know your face.
Great. All right, Sam. What are some good ways to make money in college while still having time to do your assignments and have a social life? Like, did you find any creative ideas to work and make money while you're in school?
As of now, no, but to save money, just don't eat all the time out, eat on your meal plan.
That's a good one. You guys are most of you are gonna have to have a meal plan. Take advantage of it. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
Maybe a campus job, I'm not sure, but I know a lot of people that work campus jobs and they're really like, they understand that you're a college student, so I think that's like one of the best opportunities, because you can also, I know a lot of people work at the gym, they can do their work while they're working, so.
Yeah, I mean, I became a teaching assistant this semester for a class, and they offer pay incentives, so you can make a little bit of grocery money to help you out, but there's a lot of on-campus jobs at most universities, or some off-campus. Like, I know a couple of my friends work in the local Buffalo Wild Wings in Atlanta. They enjoy that.
Yeah.
There's a ton of opportunities and different jobs that you can find around campus to make a little extra money.
Awesome. Okay, Andrew, I feel like this is kind of good for you too, because he just graduated and is about to do internships and that kind of thing. So did you start college knowing your major, or did you decide later as you kind of figured out what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I went into Hopkins very much set on doing math and statistics. It's what I enjoyed most in high school. It's what I felt like I was best at, and I felt like it was a no-brainer. And I went in, and first semester was fine. And like I talked about earlier, it's very important to be able to like meet people within your major and work with them. And I felt like that community within Hopkins wasn't very beneficial for that to make happen. So I ended up switching my junior fall, which was a little bit later, but so when I first came in, I was math and stats with an economics minor, and then I just ended up switching them because it made, I still had time to finish on time, and the credits made sense. So I switched to economics and finance, which was a huge decision for me. Would do it 10 times out of 10. The people within that major, I had a bunch of friends within it, and I was able to work with them and have those classes together and be able to study together. And also the professors in that major were much more like approachable and things like that. So don't be afraid to switch if you just get in there, like you may be dead set on something and then it just, it doesn't work out, and that happens to a lot of people. And a lot of people go in totally undecided and don't decide until their junior year, and that's fine too. Like, you're not gonna know right off the bat what you wanna do. But as you kind of get rolling and take a few classes and take a broad range of different classes, that's important too, because then you can really expose yourself to many different areas of study, and being able to kind of formulate what you want to do at that point is very beneficial too.
All right, Kieran, how or did Heritage help you discover your interests and career goals?
Ooh, yeah, that's a interesting question. Well, similar to Andrew, I'm studying economics and finance. I chose that because I enjoyed the economics classes. I took the AP classes that I took here. So, I mean, kind of building off that, I mean, I wanted to do economics, so tying in finance with that, it's been pretty enjoyable.
Lauren, since you're going into a nursing program that's pretty set in what you have to do all 4 years, do you have something to contribute to that?
I guess the same thing, honestly. I think it's really just like what has helped is having a personal relationship with the teachers here, because that's helped me with my nursing application. I got an early action because I had a really good letter of rec from my professor freshman year. So I think that's really like important, is just relationships.
That's a good point. For those of you who don't know, that sometimes your major has a separate application than the college. And sometimes that happens this year, which some of you guys are realizing. In other situations and other majors, that happens later on in your years in college. So you may not always get the major that you want. So you've got to make sure that you are taking that freshman year very seriously and building your application for when you do apply for that major. Okay. Let's see. What type of internship opportunities did you have in college, and how did you find them?
The biological science department at Sanford, like every month I get an email of all the internship opportunities they have, and so they just tell us just to respond to it if you want like more information about it.
Yeah, Georgia State has an app that we use, and it's like the alumni, they put different internships that they have for us, but you can also look on LinkedIn and other websites.
Yeah, most universities, they have a lot of career management centers or alumni networks that you can connect with to try and find internships over the summer, or if you want to do one while you're in school.
Yeah, also, and then being able to take advantage of the career fairs that your university will have, and being able to meet alumni who come back. One of the biggest things to realize, like from day one, is that alumni love to hire from their university. It's one of their most favorite things to do. They'll go out of their way to interview you first before somebody else, because they know you have a similar background. So being able to take advantage of your alumni network is huge. That's how I got multiple of my past internships. It's just being able to have a network and then being passed on to someone who knows somebody else in this industry. So that being able to build those connections is super valuable.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to move on to college life and challenges. So, what was the biggest challenge you faced in your first year of college?
Yeah, kind of similar to what Kieran said. I wasn't the best studier in high school either. And so once I got to college, I decided to challenge myself freshman fall and take an honors math class, which was probably the worst decision of my college career. Much different than what I was used to here at Heritage, and required a lot of study time outside of class, which I wasn't used to, and so I struggled a bit in that. And just kind of like I talked about earlier, adjusting to the pace, because it is just different at the end of the day, and how you have to teach yourself and practice on your own. That's a big adjustment. That's something that everybody goes through. And then also just learning how to live on your own, of course. Like, you're away from home for the first time, especially if you're doing something like, if you're on a football team or other athletics, it's a huge adjustment. So just being able to go in realizing that you're making a big life change is important, and that you're going to struggle your freshman fall, and just kind of like, stay down low, like realize that everybody goes through challenges. Don't, be looking to transfer right away. Everybody struggles at first, but once you kind of build your social network and realize how things work, like, you'll realize you're at the right place.
Yeah, I mean, similar, you're on your own now, so you're going to have to motivate yourself, especially when you're trying to wake up in the morning for class. You're going to want to, I can get an extra hour.
Your mom doesn't call you every morning and wake you up?
No, I wish. I would have gone to more classes. But yeah, like, you're going to have your 8:30s, and you're going to be like, wow, this is a great opportunity to sleep in, but you're going to have to motivate you, because you're going to miss a lot if you don't go to class. That's just how they work.
How did you find motivation or get through those tough times to make you push yourself to get there?
Well, I got in a bad habit of checking the syllabus my freshman year every time I woke up to see if I had anything that class. And it became pretty bad because I missed a couple classes where I missed a lot of info, so it did not help me. So I just kind of had to suck it up and say, hey, I gotta go to class.
So note to self, just go to class, don't read the syllabus?
Yeah.
Or do both?
You do both, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Lauren, what surprised you most about college life compared to high school?
I think it's really just like everything that you have to do. Like you're doing everything for yourself now. And then I think time management, we already talked about this, but it's just, even if you're not doing anything, even if you're not doing a sport, if you're not in an organization, it's really hard to just do everything. Like you have to plan everything out, and it's really important that you have some type of system, like a calendar. I use my calendar app, but even if you have to write things down, I know a lot of people that they have a calendar in their dorm that's written, they write everything down so that they can see it. And I feel like it's just really important to figure out what system works for you, because if you don't, it's gonna be chaotic.
Sam, I like this one for you. So how do you manage your finances and budget in college? Because you said you might have spent a little too much.
Just don't
Going out.
spend all your money at like one semester. Like you have 2 semesters, you're probably not going to work over Christmas break. Even if you do, you're not going to get as much money as you had to start. But definitely like graduation money definitely helps. So don't spend it during the summer. Save it because you're going to want to spend it when you're in college. But it's like you can go do stuff with your friends, but you don't have to buy food. You don't have to pay for stuff. So just find stuff that doesn't cost you as much money as stuff you might.
How do you track it? Do you have a budget or do you just wing it?
I just check my bank and see how much money I have.
Does anybody else have a different tracking system?
I don't necessarily like write a budget every week, but I definitely I plan out my meals every week, at least 2 home cooked meals a day, because I feel like last semester or last year, like I was door dashing a lot. I'm not even gonna lie. So it's really important to like just think about the money that you're spending. Like I've saved a lot of money from stopping door dashing. So
Yeah, you're gonna be on your own, so you're gonna be incentivized. Oh, I can just go get Chipotle. I don't want to have to walk to the dining hall, but
Did any of you get a call from your parents that was like, hello, we are not spending $150 a week on DoorDash? Did any of you guys get that reality check? No?
no, I was paying for my own, but I think it was just like from myself. I was like, it's not a good spending habit.
Yeah.
But I guess that depends on if you have a job or not.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna move on to advice for high schoolers. This is the final section, so listen up. All right, if you could go back, what would you do differently in high school? Is there anything that you regret not doing?
Yeah, so if you didn't know this, I pretty much grew up going to Heritage my whole life. And so I was here all the time. And I don't really look back on anything negatively, just because it really did kind of influence my whole life and really had a positive impact on me. So there's not much I would change. I would say that one thing I may have done a little bit differently is, and I've still tried to do this now and still working on this now, is just being where your feet are all the time. Not worrying too much about the future, really enjoying and like making the most of where you're at is huge. And that's something that I guess I look back on and wish I could have, at my time at Heritage, thought about it a little more, not just trying to like get through everything, going back to like 10th grade English class and making videos with my best friend David Browning was like the time of my life. And like, just doing goofy stuff like that, you just don't get the chance to do when you get older. So like, take advantage of the time you have here and like really get the most out of what you can. Make relationships with your teachers, play 3 different sports, be in the school play. Like I said earlier, this place is amazing to give you the opportunity to be able to do all those things. So just take advantage of it to the best of your ability, because one day you'll look back and be like, wow, I really wish I would have just focused on where I was, not worried so much about college, not worried so much about my career, my social life. Just enjoy where you're at, 100% of the time, and everything will work out for itself how it's supposed to.
yeah, I mean, completely agree with that. I mean, make the most of this time here in high school and then also while you're in college, because it does fly by. Like people say it all the time, but it goes very fast. You look back and then it's been 3 years since you got into college, so I'm sure it's the same here. Make sure you make the most of it.
I don't really have anything different to add, but yeah, just think where you are and be happy about where you are and just continue to bask in where you are.
Are there any misconceptions? This is our final question. Are there any misconceptions that high schoolers may have about college or that you had that you realized once you got there was completely wrong and you were worried about nothing, or maybe not worried about it and you needed to be worried about it? Any misconceptions that you had, or high schoolers have, I guess, about college life?
I think maybe for me, I thought that the dorms were gonna be really bad. Like I feel like that's people post on TikTok a lot about how bad the dorms are. Mine personally wasn't bad. I'm not sure about other people, but
That's a good one, Lauren.
I feel like they're not as bad as they seem.
And are you in a newer one or an older one?
It's older, but it's considered nicer because you have your own room, but they're all kind of new because Georgia State didn't have housing at first, so.
And they're doing a lot of development right now, I saw when I was there. All right, any last thoughts or pieces of advice that you would give these guys as they are about to transition, they are about to get ready and get the application piece started, and as these guys go into their next years and kind of planning for high school and college? Any final advice? Sam?
Don't get a random roommate. Try as hard as you can to find one.
Did you get a random
I
roommate?
have a random
Tell us
roommate.
your experience.
He's pretty messy and he doesn't clean. And he brings all his food back to the dorm and just doesn't take the trash out, so I have to do it. Like I think one time before room check, he had like 9 Chick-fil-A cups just sitting there, and I had to pour them out and clean it up. So just find somebody, don't get a random one.
So I think also if you have a funny story that you want to end to make everybody laugh before we leave, that'd be great too.
This isn't funny, but I had 3 random roommates too, but mine were actually good, so I don't know, maybe. I think I had like a good experience, but that might be rare. So I guess try your best, but if you don't, it might not be the end of the world.
Some people pick the roommates and don't like them, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got to talk to my roommate before, but it's good to coordinate what you're bringing to the room because it might not all fit, or you might be bringing some of the same stuff. Like my roommate and I, freshman year, we accidentally both brought like 4 fans, or both of us tried to bring a TV, it just did not all fit. The rooms are smaller than you think, so
Yeah.
just plan accordingly.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier about how I got lucky with my freshman year roommate, still one of my best friends to this day. But when my parents first left me in the room after I'd been all moved in, I walked them back out to the car, come back into my room, and my roommate is just standing in the middle of the floor, hitting a deep split squat like this. And I said, "What are you doing, man?" He goes, "Split squat iso holds, good for the knees." And I was just like, all right, I made a mistake. Who is this guy? And then I look over and he's got like all these different protein powders and like supplement pills. I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be a protein psycho. But like I said, ended up being is one of my best friends to this day. And even though he's a little quirky in that sense, he's still the man.
Did he convince you to take protein?
He did not. Well, yes, but not some of the supplements he was taking. But anyways, I guess my last piece of advice would be to stay in touch with your high school friends. It's really hard to do. You're all over the country after you leave Heritage, and yeah, it's easy to like text each other every now and then, but it actually is harder than you think. And visit when you come back with each other, and also don't be afraid to call your parents every now and then. I did a great job. No, probably did not do the best job reaching out to my parents and talking to them, but they do so much for you, and it's really important to stay in touch with them and let them know you're doing well, and stay in touch with your high school teachers as well, because they obviously care about you a lot and want you to do well. So.
And come back for alumni events
And
so
come
you
back for
can
alumni.
give back to the future. All right, let's give them a huge round of applause and thank you.